Hello, everybody. My name is Lyubomir Tulev, and I would like to welcome you on the first episode of TBS CyberTrends. When we started our discussion inside of Telling Business Services to create a podcast, we came to the idea to be something really helpful, something which is really handy for everybody in the field of cybersecurity. Our wish and our goal and the purpose of this podcast will be to make a review of the last 1 month, what has happened in the field of cybersecurity in terms of outages, major viruses, worms, exploits, hacking groups. What has happened? What were the major impacts? And the major topic to be discussed with a guest lecturer. Today I have next to me Pavel Yosifov from Telling Business Services.
Hey, everyone.
And the last couple of minutes of the podcast to be a kind of a demonstration, kind of a workshop, a use case, a nice handy tool which I can demonstrate and showcase to everybody who is interested, which is influenced on the major topic of the month. So let's get it started. Pavka, I think for the first episode it is more than clear what was the major news, what we have faced in the end of last week. And this was the CrowdStrike Falcon outage, which basically led to a lot of industries, million of people, million of users all around the world to face a denial of service from accessing their computers, their servers. So even somebody described this, what has happened as a cyber COVID.
Yeah.
Do you think we are close to a cyber COVID, and what are the relations? What are the connections with the cyber COVID? Is it really cyber COVID?
No, not really. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me. It's a
You're
pleasure,
welcome.
as always, to discuss such topics with you. I don't think it's COVID-like. Maybe the short time where people were impacted, but without any offense to CrowdStrike, now I understand the name. I was always curious, why CrowdStrike? They stroke quite a crowd, man. I saw some pictures online with people on the waiting on the airports in the US. It was a nightmare, obviously. But I think this is showing us something that we should have known already quite a while ago, that bringing to closer and closer the time to update things, to be always real-time online, it has a price tag with it. It has a trade-off. And unfortunately, a lot of people paid this price. I hope we will not have such incidents soon. But I think we need to change something in the way we deploy these things. In the past, I'm in this industry for about 20 years now. In the past, we used to have rollout scenarios. You have an update, you roll it out to a demo or a test environment, then you roll it out to a certain pilot group of people, usually the IT guys, etc. Now, with a click of a button, someone from CrowdStrike centrally can deploy to millions of endpoints, and that's a risk by itself.
So let's brief our users who are watching us what actually has happened. So in terms of the perspective of the topic, so on the 19th of July at 4 a.m. UTC time in the morning, CrowdStrike engineers has deployed an update, which is a regular update. Actually, they've mentioned even that they do these updates quite regularly, like 2-3 times per day. So they push an update, which is an update in the channel files, one of the special functionalities of their EDR system, endpoint detection in response of CrowdStrike Falcon. And the idea of this update is actually to update the behavior, the signature database, how actually this EDR agent is behaving, how is detecting the malicious files, how is inspecting their behavior, bad behavior. But unfortunately, due to an unknown reason, this update led to restart the operating system. And by the way, this is affecting only Windows operating system.
True.
So no Linux, no Mac users were affected. Yeah. As soon as the system has been restarted, the users has experienced this blue screen of death, basically meaning that your operating system cannot start, so your system cannot start, facing troubles with starting the operating system. And this basically led to outages of millions of systems all around the world, which is interesting. Why Bulgaria hasn't been so heavily infected? I have my explanation,
yeah.
but I would like to really hear your perspective about that.
CrowdStrike is not the most adopted EDR vendor in our region, I believe. And this is probably, in this specific scenario, obviously, that helped us a little bit. There were some institutions that were impacted, I think, and also in the region. I'm talking only about Bulgaria. But in general, the maturity of our organizations to deploy and rely on automation and cloud solutions is a little bit behind from the rest of the world, I would say. And I think this is why we were not that impacted, because we slowly adopted such approaches. How many companies do you know that would be completely okay with deploying agents that would be centrally managed by a cloud provider? I mean, it's still kind of tricky in our region, I think.
Yeah, that's also my explanation about that. Unfortunately, Bulgaria seems not to be so much mature in terms of understanding the importance of such systems such as CrowdStrike Falcon EDR systems. Well, some industries are. Take example of the banking system, the government, but the rest, the vast majority of the industries, they still, even some of them even don't use antivirus systems, and we're talking about EDR, which is rather different in the Western market, West Europe, the States. They are heavily adopting EDR solutions to protect their endpoints, and CrowdStrike are actually one of the top 5, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, one of the really leading vendors out there on the market, and unfortunately, this could really happen to everybody else. I mean, let's not really blame now CrowdStrike because, well, obviously it's a matter of internal breaking some of the policies for quality assurance. The fact that you are pushing something centrally, which is immediately affecting everybody with this agent and follows an immediate restart, you should have tested everything in all different scenarios. But the fact that they've made a mistake really talks to me like something kind of internal, violation of the quality assurance procedures.
I think this is one of the questions we need to answer, and not specifically about CrowdStrike, but about how we deploy technology. Is we put a lot of trust in that technology. We trust those vendors and that they're doing proper testing and quality assurance and validation. And such incidents clearly show that such things could be bypassed. Let me call it like that. It's something we need to think of. If this is, it's not a per se cybersecurity incident. Let me put this straightforward. This is not a breach. This is not something that leads to data leakage for the time being, as far as we know. This is an operational issue. You're pushing an update that breaks stuff, and we used to be good at managing these things in the past. We used to be good at that in IT. Now we are very much relying on somebody else doing the heavy lifting, somebody else doing the testing, doing the validation, checking, and now we just want the result, which is fine. But after this incident, maybe we need to think a little bit differently. Do we actually do something on our side as well, just to double check? Because on the other side, you have human beings. They make mistakes like we all do.
But on the other hand, you know that the major EDR vendors, they are exactly claiming this way. Hey, we are selling you something to entirely protect your endpoint without any need for your assistance or your actions. We are totally automated the process of identification, detection of incidents, and reaction on that. So they are selling their products in the way that, hey, you don't need to do anything else, just rely on us. But then it's really a matter of how we are selecting our vendors, and do we really trust in them? Because cybersecurity, at the end of the day, is so about trust. Even for us as a company, we are selling cybersecurity services. Sure. We're selling cybersecurity consultations. And if our customers are not interested and not insured with us, they will never, come to us as a company. So it's really a matter of trust. And now the the bad situation with the whole this what happened is that there's a major, negative impacts on what happened with CrowdStrike. Even the first day of this of this IT operational issue, CrowdStrike has lost like 20 plus million of their actions as a company. So which is really high. And what I see now from talking with different fellows, experts in the field, they're saying, well, CrowdStrike, I'll double check for that.
I don't think it's fair, honestly speaking. I understand why it's happening, but on the other side, do you think they'll do the same mistake again? I don't think so.
Well, let me challenge you. 2016, McAfee did pretty much the same mistake.
Yeah.
And do you know what is the relation between both of them?
We had the same guy.
The same guy is on the top of the pyramids of McAfee and now CrowdStrike. I know it's a pity situation. You can never think about that, but it is what it is. The CEO of McAfee back in 2016 was the CEO of CrowdStrike. This has happened.
Yeah, true. I doubt he's pushing that, right? I mean,
sure. No. Just a bad luck, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we should anyway start thinking a little bit about being cautious. Trust is one thing, and it's given. This is another reason why in Bulgaria we're a little bit different, or in the region, because we don't give trust that easy. Yeah. As nations, we don't do that like from a people perspective. So I think we should start thinking about testing as again, having a small set of what we used to do in the past of testing and quality built in the processes that we do, adopting even cloud technologies. The day before that, there was an Azure incident.
Okay.
You know that on the 18th of this is why initially it wasn't clear, is it CrowdStrike, is it Microsoft? Because on the 18th, there was an Azure outage from Microsoft. So these things do happen, right? This is not something that we can ignore, but we should do our best not to blindly give the trust, but to kind of validate it to some extent, if I may use it.
You've mentioned something very important, which is really important also for everybody who is watching us to really be sure that we're not talking about data breach, about data exfiltration. We are not talking about hacking attempts. But let me challenge you. What do you think would have happened if really hackers, for some reason, somehow, got infiltrated in CrowdStrike or any other company dealing with cybersecurity? Isn't it the easiest way now for hackers, instead of trying to break inside of a heavily protected fortress with the cybersecurity solutions, isn't it exactly what they are trying to do right now, to get inside of companies of different suppliers who are supplying services or products and just implement a backdoor? Isn't it one of their approaches even to implement the backdoors in public libraries, such as in GitHub, for example?
Sure.
So that everybody who is deploying those libraries, just deploying a backdoor for the bad actors. To me, it is really now showcasing to hackers, hey guys, this is one of the easiest way for the next time to think about this, how you can easily break in any company who has this agent or any solution like this.
Yeah, we saw this from SolarWinds a few years ago.
Yeah.
There was a quick relation done on the market that is this the next SolarWinds incident? Hopefully it's not, because what we see in the public published from CrowdStrike and Microsoft as well is that this is just operational stuff. But you're right, it could have been something different. This update could have pushed ransomware, for example. Of course, for Christ's sake, if you're CrowdStrike and you allow your anti-malware software to be deploying ransomware, you should be out of business the next day.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case, and I don't think that's the case, to be honest. But yes, we know this also from SolarWinds and other cases, that they're trying to infiltrate organizations and reach to the mass user and mass companies through that. I don't think this is the case here, but it is, as you said, showcasing that it's doable. I'm really scared to imagine if this was a cyber incident.
Another angle, another perspective, you mentioned the hackers are not involved in this particular scenario, but
That's the
they-
public info. Yeah.
yeah, but they took advantage just right after that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
So what I noticed, just in the next few hours, have been registered like hundreds of phishing emails, very close to, the email of CrowdStrike, the official, the domain, of CrowdStrike. So they started actually a very active, very proactive, very aggressive phishing campaigns, presenting themselves as CrowdStrike engineers, contacting different agencies, institutions, companies all around the world, offering their free service. Hey, I'm from CrowdStrike engineer. You have faced this issue. Let me help you out with this. So this is how actually the hackers are thinking every time. Every time when there's a major outage or a major issue or problem, or that, even here on the local market in Bulgaria, but even elsewhere, every time when has happened something, they're trying to be proactive. They're trying to be reactive of what has happened and proactively register domains or any other institution or company names to take advantage of this.
Yeah, sure. These are smart guys sitting on the other side, Lubo. You know that. We know that. And they're taking advantage of situations like problems for others are opportunities for somebody else.
True.
And this is another similarity to COVID, maybe, because you can remember what was during COVID time. It was crazy. But we should have learned our lesson. When you have such a crisis, if I might call it like that, don't hook up to the first thing you see on the web or on your email. Be a little bit more cautious because people tend to be emotional and I need to do something fast. No, don't do stuff fast. Do stuff right, okay? And it's up to us people to do that because technology at that early stage is not able to prevent those. They're very valid domains, valid emails, nothing malicious inside them. There's nothing that can stop them.
What actually I can suggest in this regards are, as you said, just be more cautious and be proactive. So even if you receive an email, make a very easy, a very fast research when this domain has been registered. Come on, everybody knows how to check the date of registration of a particular domain. I mean, the audience of us should have been aware of that. So, okay, in that situation, easily check the date of registration of those domain. Take a look of the very important sites of a typical phishing email, how we can detect a phishing mail. Well, it seems to be coming from an official entity, institution, organization. Use a lot of signatures, logos to pretend to be a legitimate one. Usually, it requires fast actions. You need to click here or download this or do that right now because you're losing time and you will be hacked again or whatever. And very, very important in the phishing mails, we have attachments which are malicious, or we have phishing links, links leading to a phishing pages trying to, get your credentials or personal data or payment card data. So really try to be careful with that.
Everything that you said from identification perspective is true for the people that are in IT, but we have a lot of people that are not in IT, right? And even IT companies like ourselves, we have a lot of people that are not IT guys and ladies, right?
Sure.
So these are the usual, I think, victims. If for an IT guy, it's simple how to check a domain when it's registered. It's easy to identify this small letter that is changed because this is how our brains work. The other people don't work like that. They just don't.
True.
Yeah.
The very pity situation is that this problem wasn't supposed to be fixed remotely simply because your computer is down, your system hasn't been operating. So, and this is a big challenge because even when I'm talking right now with different fellows here on the market, they're still struggling and they're still recovering from this outage. And simply what they are saying, hey, Lou, I need physically to go and visit this and that town to sit in front of the computer, in front of the server, and to do these 4 or 5 steps to recover from that problem. So that's why I'm saying that it really will take a lot of time. And what I mean a couple of weeks. You cannot fix it just like that. Although CrowdStrike has launched an update of this bad update just an hour later.
Yeah.
but the situation is that you need physically to sit in front of each of that computer to do the steps. And by the way, maybe this is a good point to explain to our users, to our watchers, who for some reason still hasn't been recovered from that incident. What were the very easy steps for mitigating the problem and basically fixing the problem? Everybody recommended first to go in a safe mode. So to restart your operating system using the safe mode. Safe mode is a special way of starting your operating system with a very limited functionalities, meaning that you will not start the EDR agent of CrowdStrike Falcon. And for that reason, you can easily navigate to the folder where the CrowdStrike default folder of installation is and simply delete the C-50291*.sys file.
Great memory.
Thank you. So simply deleting this file, restarting as normal, and your operating system should be back to work as normal. This is what the official statement of CrowdStrike as the recommendations are. But as I said, you need physically to sit in front of these computers to do these steps.
Yeah, there are a couple of other things you can do, and I know customers are doing and trying to. One is there is a sort of a statement as well from CrowdStrike and Microsoft. You can try rebooting a lot of times.
I've heard like 15 times.
Up to 15 times if you do that. At
do
some
you really
point,
believe that? I mean,
yeah, it seems to have worked for some people. I checked blogs and stuff. It seems that at some point the CrowdStrike agent is able to fetch the new file from the update server and push it and remove the old one.
Because to me, this really sounded, strange and awkward.
Yeah, sounds strange. The other thing you could probably do is you can recover from backup.
Sure.
Yeah, if you have one, and but that's a very lengthy procedure, as you can imagine, and you're losing obviously some data because if you're recovering from a backup, you're losing a certain time period of data. And the other thing I saw as an idea was if you're in a virtual environment, you can take the virtual disk and attach it to a working Windows and delete the file.
I was just about actually to ask you, because I know that you have a lot of experience also in the cloud infrastructure and the cloud perspective of cybersecurity. What is the situation if we are not talking about the physical computers, but we are talking about virtual computers, virtual operating systems of Windows, which are somewhere on the cloud?
Absolutely the same. The only difference is you can probably do that. The downside or the challenge is if you have encryption, if you're using like BitLocker, for example, and you detach a disk, you're not going to be able to read it on the other Windows unless you have your key management somewhere else, which is kind of rare, to be honest, in most organizations. And this somewhere else is not impacted too, because if it's working on a Windows with CrowdStrike engine, it's going to be impacted too. So you can enter a very interesting loop, yes, but it is challenging to recover from that. It is. That's why we need to do more from the prevention perspective. Test, don't trust.
Sure, very good statement.
We were talking about zero trust networks access and stuff like that. And now we're giving a lot of trust to organizations we've never seen.
Yeah, at the end of our conversation, this first episode of our podcast, I didn't really want to, give this impression of that we are stigmatizing CrowdStrike.
No.
Right.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So, as you said, a couple of times we said it. This could happen to pretty much every other vendor out there on the market. But as you said, test, validate before you really go with a specific vendor. This is very important. And once again, it's a very pity situation that this happened exactly with a cybersecurity solution, which was actually intended to protect you from malicious files out there.
But huge impact, obviously. But it happens all over the place. I mean, I've seen, for example, I don't know if you've noticed that in end of June, I think beginning of July, there was an attack on a hospital, on the biggest hospital in Zagreb, which has led to, thanks God, no patients were impacted directly, but every document had to be filled in paper. Written,
which is like 50, 60 years back.
Yeah, and it's very slow. And some functions like scannings and stuff like that, they don't function because you don't have an IT, and they need IT to work.
Was the Logbit behind this attack?
They claim to be behind this attack, but the funny thing is there is no ransomware demand. So nobody asked for any ransom.
Yeah, because it's really strange because just a couple of weeks ago, that Logbit's organization officially the statement is that they have been arrested, everybody who is part of this organization. So this hacking group has been down.
I think February was something.
I don't really remember. Beginning of this year,
yeah.
Sure. And now when I read this statement that Logbit is behind this attack, and I was, wow. I mean, those guys were supposed to be already in the jail, arrested.
It's not. I don't buy it
Did
yet.
they recover?
Because have you seen Logbit being able to penetrate and not asking for ransom? I don't think they're doing that. I don't know why this. I think they're claiming this just to show they're not. There have been reportedly several other incidents where they tried to claim their own, that it's theirs, and it turns out that it's not. So I think it's more of a buzz from their side.
When you mentioned a hacking organization dealing with ransomware attacks, although in this particular case wasn't a ransomware case, but still Logbit is famous with that. And a hospital, I remember we were discussing with you like 4 years ago in the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. There was an incident which happened in Germany actually, and which led exactly because of a ransomware attack, a hospital to be fully under attack, and even the systems which were, helping people to breathe who are in coma were infected. All of those systems, and actually this led to a situation where a woman has been just accommodated in a hospital and she died.
She lost her life. Yes,
she lost her life just because these systems weren't working back at that time.
Yeah, I'm not sure why people are attacking hospitals. I mean, okay, stealing data is one thing, but jeopardizing the operability of a hospital is... I don't understand that. Anyway, I don't understand a lot of things around these things, but this one is particularly nasty because it can lead to people losing their lives, definitely. Thanks God, in Zagreb this was not the case. They were able to distribute the patients to the other facilities, and it wasn't that impactful unless you have to put a lot of paperwork. But it actually rose some questions on a government level, and also other hospitals are now, I think, looking at, we should do something. We don't want to be the next ones. This is typically what happens in every industry.
Yeah.
If someone is attacked and is down, everybody else is trying to say, okay, let's do something now.
I usually have such conversations with, fellows, friends of mine who are small business owners of restaurants, cafes, whatever. And, they are usually asking me, but hey, Lubo, why do I need cybersecurity? I mean, I have just this and that simple computer. And, the pity situation is just, a couple of months or years later when they are attacked by hackers and their data is encrypted due to a ransomware attack. They're, hey, Lubo, I really needed cybersecurity right now. So this is the normal behavior of most of the people, especially what we see in Bulgaria, in our country. They are not, proactively thinking about cybersecurity unless they really have a problem right now.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, I think we were able to describe the major incident, the major problem, everything. Everybody was talking about this, operational issue in the last couple of days.
Sure.
Somebody, as I said, called it cyber COVID because we haven't seen such an IT outage due to during the last, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years. The last time I remember such an impact was maybe, this privilege escalation attacks, exploits which were discovered 2017, Spectre and Meltdown. This really, had a huge impact but from 2017 till now, I don't remember such really an international global IT outage. That's why somebody called it this way. Thank you very much for being my guest.
It was a pleasure as always. Thank you.
Thank you, Pavka. Hey, to those of you who are watching us now, Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to watch us next time. See you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.